start, I wanted to ask, with your debut feature, Hunger, which we had the privilege of screening here at TIFF a few years ago, you took on an overtly political and ideological subject matter. Now with Shame, the film seems to be equally political, if not more so, but in a much more subtle way. And I'm wondering what motivated you to take on this subject matter and in this way.
It was just having discussions with Abby Morgan, the co-writer, and we was talking.
So, what is it about him that draws you to his work all the time?
The question is, what draws you, Michael, to Steve McQueen's work?
He's a handsome man. Well, it was like, first time I met him, really, I just sort of realized that there was somebody sort of special sitting in front of me, somebody who had sort of real empathy, somebody who really loved human beings and liked asking questions about, why we're here and how we relate to each other and how we relate to ourselves. And I just knew that, I was going to learn something from him, and that, I must work with this man.
Another question. Yes, over there.
First of all, Mr. Fassbender, you're an acting god.
Yeah!
By coincidence, I'm not thinking of that. I'm not thinking about Lichtenstein, I'm not thinking about Einstein, I'm not thinking about Scorsese, I'm not thinking about Coppola when making a film. It's an interesting question, because often I get asked that question. Do you think about...
Really?
The question for those in the back is, what kind of research did Michael put into the role?
I just sort of threw myself into it. No, it's kind of the research for me is pretty much always the same. It's, the script, and I just spend a lot of time with the script, and that's kind of what I tend to do with all scripts. I just sort of reread it, and after a while it sort of, sits in your enamel, and it's almost like another sort of layer of skin. And then of course, meeting people, talking about people that are sort of going through this. And then of course discussions with Steve, and then we sort of, workshop some ideas, and but the bulk would be just sort of with the script, spending lots of boring time alone, sort of, just sort of getting to know that as best as I can.
Next. Michael, sexual addiction?
Well, I think, when I was sort of looking into it, and the idea that I think the mental sort of health board or official people who decide what is mental illness and what is not don't recognize it as a condition. Yet I think it's something like 24 million people in America alone claim to be suffering from it. And I think sort of for me, addiction would mean that you realize that there's a pattern happening, yet you can't break that pattern. And through that pattern, your work is affected, and the relationships in your life are affected by it. And I just thought that that was enough for me to go on, really, with that, and try and sort of understand, as Steve was saying, we can find addiction I mean, because we have so much information being thrown at us these days, so much choice, we're told that we should be doing so many things, gaining so many sort of material objects, seeing the right people, wearing the right clothes in order to bring happiness. I thought, that there was an awful lot there that seemed real to me, and I could recognize it in the world, sort of that we all live in. It's kind of that idea that it's like it can come through gambling, it can be our relationship with food, relationship to sex, as in sort of this case here, or alcohol or drugs. It's kind of the same thing.
Great, another question. Yes, right here. How do you go about preparing yourself for that?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing, really. But it's part of the story, and you're just trying to sort of tell the story as best you can, and try not to let sort of Steve down. And so, again, it's just really the same thing with the script. I spend an awful lot of time with the script, and sort of discover things and get to a point where I'm very comfortable with the script, so that when I come on set and we put it on the floor, then I can be relaxed, and I can be sort of awake to what's going on around me, and try not to pre-impose what I'm going to do in the scene or preempt it too much. And but again, it's just the idea of working with the script. And I have to get my clothes off, so just get on with it, really. It sort of at the beginning you feel a little bit sort of self-conscious. In the end, I'm just strolling around the apartment naked all the time. So it's just one of those things, really.
Any other?